Welcome back to another video, and we are doing the WWE side of things this time with our State of WWE video, where we're going to break down everything happening in WWE. Slightly SummerSlam prediction kind of in here, but yeah, we'll do an actual full prediction of SummerSlam moving forward when we get a little bit closer. But yeah, what do you think of the current WWE product so far?
Yeah, I think they definitely have some things that are very interesting. We'll get into things a bit more in depth later, but I think Gunther and Punk is something we've been wanting to see. We got it teased on the house show randomly, but now officially on SummerSlam. Should be a very interesting match and very fun. The women have been killing it this year, and I think that's been the real saving grace of WWE, because I think some of the championship stuff on the men's side hasn't been so great this year. But yeah, definitely a lot of good things going on in WWE. But yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to kick things off with talking about John Cena, someone who's been the main topic of 2025 in the WWE, sort of the main character of the WWE at the moment, getting a ton of TV time, getting all the time he needs in his matches, the big segments and the main events and all of that. But yeah, it's kind of started off at the Elimination Chamber where he initially turned heel, and then it kind of moved on to WrestleMania where we've seen him take down Cody Rhodes and getting that title that he says he's going to go home with when he retires.
Yeah, the John Cena stuff has been an up and down story. We got in people that we want to see him go against, but the matches haven't really delivered. For whatever reason, like I said, I do like the people he's gone against, at least some of them. But yeah, I don't know what's really going wrong with it. Maybe he's not there literally every week. Kind of hurts it, but yeah, for what's next for Cena, obviously he could definitely lose the belt at SummerSlam, but I could also see a world where he does retain and continues until the very last match, like what he said. He might come so close to finishing his own story, but on that last Boston show, I could definitely see that being the night where he does lose it.
Yeah, I think that could be also a world that I've kind of predicted and talking to you, where I do think that John Cena could lose and potentially go after AJ Styles at Clash in Paris, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But yeah, John Cena has had a run where I think people are kind of not necessarily 50-50 on, because I think it's sliding more towards the negative side at this point. But I think the biggest talking point of a lot of his matches is just the involvement with a lot of different people. At Elimination Chamber, we had The Rock and Travis Scott and the whole little thing with that. Then at WrestleMania, same thing with Travis Scott and everything. With Randy Orton, R-Truth got involved. But there's a lot of involvement in a lot of his matches. None of them have been clean. Even with CM Punk, we've seen all the stuff get involved with Seth Rollins and everything happening there. So there's just been a lot of kind of stuff going on. Maybe a little bit of overbooking happening in WWE around John Cena. But it has had its like few high points with some promos in between on SmackDowns and stuff that's been really good. But yeah, not a lot has hit with this John Cena heel turn. But moving on to something that is going to hit, and is going to hit like crack, and that is Gunther versus CM Punk going into SummerSlam. This is a match that everyone wanted. This is a match that we really want to see, and there's a lot of questions surrounding this match as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a world where either man can walk out as the world champion. For Gunther, it feels kind of weird because this run has been all over the place. We've seen him go against Jey Uso. We've seen him go against Pat McAfee. We've seen him go against Goldberg. So now that we got a real opponent in CM Punk, and it being CM Punk, it's very losable for him. He could easily lose this match, but I could see a world where Gunther kind of starts regaining some of that momentum. He's still getting the "you tapped out" chance, so I hope WWE doesn't let him lose here. I would like to see Punk maybe eventually dethrone Gunther, but I think right now Gunther needs to kind of reinvigorate himself, show people why he is one of the best in the world, show them that, you know, forget about what that is, because now I am back as the beast that you all hated. And yeah, I definitely hope this isn't the end for Gunther's reign, but again, I could see a world where CM Punk shows that he is the best in the world, and he walks out as the champion.
Yeah, it's very exciting to see Gunther in the main event picture with main event people finally. CM Punk coming in, and he didn't say anything in the promo, but obviously he kind of said a lot just with his eyes and his facial expressions and everything, kind of leading into that segment with him and Gunther. But another question mark that's surrounding this match is Seth Rollins going to get involved? Is he going to cash in before the match? Is he going to cash in after or during the match? Or is he going to cash in at all? There is an injury thing going on with him, so will he just hold the briefcase for whenever that might be. But he did promise to never let CM Punk win that world title. So what do you think about the Seth Rollins cash in and the Gunther and CM Punk match?
Yeah, I mean, really, you can also talk about this in the Cena match, because I think there's also a world now after, like you mentioned, at the Not a Champion show, that Seth Rollins and Cena aren't friends, so he is also another threat. So, yeah, Seth Rollins cashing in. I don't know, but this injury stuff, we've seen him, I think Seth Rollins is the type of guy to play into a fake injury a lot, where he's walking around backstage in cast, doesn't tell anybody, and then we have all these news reports coming out that he is actually injured and whatnot. But I do think it's a possibility. It feels like, I don't know. It definitely is possible, because we don't know what really is the case with this injury, whether it is real, whether it's not. So I guess that's going to be the telltale. But yeah, I definitely think it is possible. I think if Punk is looking to win this match, Seth Rollins probably will come out and make sure at least stop that. But I guess the thing as well is him and Cody Rhodes saying if Seth cashes in on that match, him and Cody Rhodes is a match that we want to see again, and should be another really interesting match as well.
Yeah, I think the Seth Rollins cash-in is inevitable for the recent future. I do not think he's going to be a person who will hold that for a very long time. He has the help of Bronson Reed. He has the help of Braun Breaker and Paul Heyman as well. So he's looking very strong going into this cash-in, and I do think he will be successful in doing that. And something that you've mentioned earlier that is also very successful, that is the women's division and everything involving Io Sky this year. Io Sky might just be the MVP of the year alongside maybe a Stephanie Vaquer or someone like that. But we did just see Io versus Rhea Ripley at Evolution. It was an absolute amazing match, super classic. And then we also got the Naomi cash in and win at Evolution.
Yeah, I think Naomi went from being like, damn, it sucks that she cashed in because it was such a great match. We wanted Io to kind of continue her reign. But now that Naomi is world champion, we've seen her a little bit on this past Raw. I definitely am behind her now. I think she's definitely shown that she is somebody who can hang up with the top. I'm definitely interested to see what the match is going to tell for us at SummerSlam with the Io Rhea triple threat. So Naomi as champion can be very fun. I think this heel work is definitely going to be helping her in the long run. We've always seen her as a babyface, but now she's able to elevate her game as being, a two-sided character where she can be that babyface, but also be that nasty heel. And yeah, she's very charismatic. You see that through everything she's done the past few weeks. So yeah, this match could definitely be, again, Io putting on a masterclass again at the big show. And yeah, it should be a really fun a night.
Yeah, I think Naomi has been amazing all the way leading up into this. It was an amazing moment of her cashing in because we definitely didn't expect that. I think everyone had their eyes set on SummerSlam with her cashing in, but that wasn't the case. She did the big surprise. WWE pulled it off. It did its job for sure. I think everyone in that arena was shocked by their reaction. I think everyone at home was shocked by our reaction. And yeah, it was just a very cool moment. She definitely deserves it. She's one of the greats. She's one of the GOATs. She's one of the best. And she's a vet in the business that deserves more title runs. This is her, I believe, third world title run in the WWE. So that's a very good stat to have as with Naomi, of course. But yeah, this has been very interesting stuff with Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. They've been going at it for a very long time. They've included Naomi now. They've included Bianca Belair at points. So yeah, this is very cool to see. We've also seen Rhea defend Io Sky over multiple segments from multiple people such as Roxanne Perez and Chelsea Green and the Hervis. And yeah, she just defended Io, fought Io. We've never really seen them go at each other with a blood feud. And I think that's probably the next step with Rhea Ripley and Io Sky is a big blood feud and a real reason for them to feud with each other.
Yeah, but yeah, next up, I guess we're going to talk about something we mentioned a little bit earlier, and that is AJ Styles and Dominic Mysterio, now official for SummerSlam. We've seen the past few weeks that AJ Styles is a man of many trades. He is a doctor. He is I believe a janitor as well. So yeah, AJ Styles is a man of many traits, but we most know him as the best wrestler alive. And now he's going against the second best in Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah, we've recently seen AJ Styles show up at TNA Slammiversary where he celebrated with Leon Slater after winning his X Division title, and now he is going after the WWE mid-card title with that IC champion Dominic Mysterio. We've seen him stalking him over the past few weeks, kind of showing up in very funny segments, really just cool ways to introduce him and put him back backstage and give him that little bit of time, make Dominic Mysterio work that funny character of his, and it has been working very good. But something that hasn't been working very good is the Judgment Day. Well, I guess you can't say it has been working very good, but it's stuff lingering in the background here, and that is because they do have all the gold. They have the women's tag team champions, they have the IC champion, and Finn and JD also have those men's tag team titles. So they're holding all the gold, but there's a lot of cracks in the Judgment Day with Dominic Mysterio and Roxanne, Dominic and Liv, AJ and Dom, Raquel and Finn, and all the pieces are kind of colliding with each other. So what do you think of the Judgment Day and everything revolving around them right now?
Yeah, I mean, for the past 2 years, it feels like it's always like, all right, when is the Judgment Day finally going to end? And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I think the Judgment Day has been great. I think when this group does officially end, this is a Hall of Fame level group, especially with the history of the group. But yeah, I think the recent kind of introduction of Roxanne Perez has been very interesting, especially with the unfortunate injury of Liv Morgan. She's kind of filled her role, not completely, because you definitely feel the missing piece of Liv Morgan, not only of Judgment Day, but on Raw. So yeah, definitely could be really interesting. We kind of thought that Finn and Dominic would kind of have their thing going, which could still happen, I guess, with AJ having that connection to Finn having that connection to Dominic, so everybody has their connection with one another. I guess it's just a matter of time of when Finn decides to strike. And if this does, and then Germany does end up splitting, who sides with who? Where does Raquel fall in that once Liv comes back? Because now she seems to be more friends with Roxanne. So yeah, with Liv kind of being out, it can definitely lead a lot of things for when she does come back.
Yeah, I'm very much expecting Liv Morgan to come back at SummerSlam in some sort of capacity. Obviously, I'm not expecting her to be involved in the match or anything of that nature because she is hurt. But I do expect her to come out in the cast, maybe cut a promo. Maybe she just comes in and celebrates with them, or maybe they lose and they do the opposite of celebrating. She yells at them, does whatever she does. But I do think that the Judgment Day have been amazing. As you mentioned, they're a Hall of Fame group. When you look at the list of people that were in that group, such as Edge, Finn Balor, Rhea, Liv, Roxy, Dominic Mysterio, so many great people have come in and out of this group, and it's been kind of a short period of time, but at the same time a long period of time, and they always manage to kind of reimagine this group and kind of give it more life and make it feel interesting at certain points during every year. But moving on from the Judgment Day, another big blood feud that's happening here in the WWE is Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria.
Yeah, I mean, these two, we knew eventually at some point, once Becky had come back, we would get this type of match. But the way everything's transpired since WrestleMania, the night after WrestleMania, things have been very interesting for Becky. I think she's done some of her best work, I think, in quite a while. I think she's been fantastic, being the dumb kind of... She knows she's talking shit, and she knows she's bullshitting with a lot of her stuff she's saying, but it's very funny, and she's kind of being a great heel through all this. Lyra kind of being a little bit of a heel at times when it comes to Bayley, Becky, and stuff like that. But I think this has definitely elevated Lyra to somebody who, by the end of this year, could be a world champion. Maybe at this time next year, she'll be a world champion. Who knows what the potential is for her, because she's definitely won a lot of people over at the start of the year with the Intercontinental Champion. Things kind of started off a little bit rocky, but once we kind of got things moving with her, and then once Becky came back, the Intercontinental Championship took a huge jump up, and is now one of the best titles on weekly TV.
Yeah, we've seen Becky Lynch really kind of develop this really cool kind of delusional Becky Lynch where everyone's against her, and she just has her own way of thinking of things. She comes out in the Becky Hogan gear not too long ago as well, so she's kind of playing into what she sees online and into the crowd and all of that. So it's been really good heel work from Becky Lynch. Lyra coming out as the big baby face and all of this, also kind of looking a little heelish in the Bayley situation. So yeah, this has been really good stuff with Becky and Lyra. They had an amazing triple threat with Bayley at Evolution, and even before that, all their singles matches were amazing as well. But speaking of Bayley, what do you think is next for Bayley? We've seen her lose multiple times in this feud. We've seen her not even get the WrestleMania spot just to get it taken away by a Becky Lynch, who then attacked her backstage, and then she attacked her back, and it's kind of been this big blood feud involving the three, but we never actually got Becky versus Bayley.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing you can definitely do, obviously not right now necessarily, but when SummerSlam is all over, I would like to see a match between maybe her and Naomi, if they have their history with one another, so it'd be cool to see them two go at it. But if potentially we don't get that before Clash in Paris, if Stephanie Valkyrie walks out of Clash, maybe Stephanie Vaquer and Bayley could be a very fun match. We kind of seen a little bit of teases with them two in the Fatal 4-Ways in NXT at the start of the year and the end of last year. So yeah, I definitely think Bayley is kind of in a weird point where she's now kind of done with this Becky Lyra stuff, or she could not be done necessarily, I guess. But yeah, it's kind of be weird where she does fall, because there isn't too many women kind of left in the singles division, I guess, besides, you know, the top champions.
Yeah, I guess it would be maybe cool for Bayley to move over to SmackDown and go against Julia for that U.S. title. That's something that could be very interesting. And I guess speaking of Julia and that U.S. title, we'll move on to her and speak about what's next for her. We've seen her defeat Zelina Vega to win that title. Then we also seen Zelina Vega eliminate her in the Evolution Battle Royal. So maybe there's still some tension there. Maybe we get another rematch of that. But what do you think of Julia's very short run so far?
Yeah, I mean, so far I can't really say that it's been amazing or awful or anything like that. But I think for the most part for this title reign, I think it's about time we establish what the United States Champion, Women's United States Champion means for the women. So far, Chelsea had a very fun run, but then when Zelina won it, it kind of felt kind of odd, but then her run was very short, and unfortunately it wasn't the best matches that came from it. But now that Julia is the United States Champion, it definitely seems like they have very high stocks in her, so I definitely think she will get a lot of cool matches. But being on SmackDown, the singles division isn't very stacked right now. We know Charlotte and Alexa are a tag team now, kind of, but they can always fall back into the singles division. But yeah, hopefully, like I said, I just want Julia to kind of establish what the U.S. title means, kind of like how we've seen Lyra do it with the Intercontinental, and then once Becky had won it, to really, you know, establish it as well.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird trajectory for that U.S. title run for the women, because obviously Chelsea had a really good run. Everyone was excited for it. It was pretty good TV every single week. She was making it very interesting, and just made it felt a little bit more prestigious than you know, what it, I guess, initially started with, because it started with nothing, obviously. But yeah, Chelsea Green did a really good job, and I think if the trajectory was to get to Julia from the start, I think they kind of mishandled that a little bit, because it probably should have went straight from Chelsea to Julia and not had that Zelina interference in the middle there, because I do think that kind of meant a little bit less when Julia won that title from Zelina versus if she won it from Chelsea at her peak. I think that would have been a lot better for Julia. Maybe it would look a little bit better. Obviously, you can involve the Hervis in the match and make her look even stronger and all that sort of stuff as well. But I do think Julia has some hope left in her. She hasn't had a lot of interactions with a lot of people backstage. We haven't really seen her get the interaction with the crowd even really in some of her matches, but very recently she did have a few moments where the crowd got behind her. She's getting her pops, and the U.S. title does look very good on Julia, so I'm interested to see what she does with it going forward. But someone who's very familiar with Julia, that is Stephanie Vaquer, winning the Battle Royal at Evolution, as we mentioned earlier. And yeah, she is your new #1 contender going into Clash in Paris.
Yeah, I mean, whether whoever does walk out of SummerSlam, whether it's Io, Rhea, Naomi, whoever Stephanie does go against, it should be very fun. It's going to be a very great match. If it is Io to win back her championship and go against Stephanie, I think that would be a beautiful match. We want that match. We got it twice, I guess, now, but we want on the PLE. We want a full match that has a decisive finish, and we can see, I guess, truly who is the best women's wrestler, maybe not only in WWE, but potentially in the world. But yeah, not only is Io a threat, though, Rhea is just around the corner. So even if Rhea and Stephanie, I think that's something that is very possible. Stephanie's somebody who W obviously has very high hopes for and definitely has a lot of stock in. She's been showcased very well, I think, since she's really debuted, but even since coming up to the main roster as well. So yes, Stephanie being that #1 contender could be very, very interesting, and hopefully, you know, she does maybe win it at Clash in Paris, even if Naomi does walk out of SummerSlam as a champion.
Yeah, I do think Stephanie Vaquer and Io Sky is a WrestleMania main event level match. I think it'll be an absolute amazing match. The crowd is super behind the both of them. They have been the big standouts of this year, the MVPs of WWE, putting on the absolute best matches. Io Sky is on an absolute amazing tear right now, just putting on banger after banger. She's having matches with literally everyone that you want her to have matches with. She's winning them all. She's doing very, very good stuff. So I think that's the big match right there, because WWE definitely sees that Stephanie Io match as a big WrestleMania match as well, or, you know, at least a big main event match at the very least, because they're kind of doing those interactions with everyone, interfering and everything, and that's basically telling people, hey, we know you really want this match, we're going to tease you for a little bit, and then eventually eventually, when we really give you the match, it'll be a very big one, and we'll put a lot of time into it, hopefully.
Yeah. But going on to another top women's match, and that is Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill at SummerSlam. Jade Cargill obviously winning the women or the Queen of the Ring. Now going against Tiffany. For her, I think it's definitely very likable for her to win this match. Tiffany's held the belt for quite a while now, so I feel like it's time to kind of start shifting gears of what is next. Jade Cargill kind of has been in a weird spot since debuting. She took a while to actually have that first match in WWE, but since then she's done some big things. Obviously with the Bianca, one of the tag team champions. She had the stuff with Naomi at the start of the year, and they had their big feud. But I think now it's time to really showcase Jade Cargill as one of the top women. She hasn't really done too much. Like I said, she did the stuff with Bianca, but now I think it's time for her to be the star, her to be, given the keys to kind of lead the division. Obviously, it's going to be very interesting because you do have women that I would kind of say are better than her, but it was something that I guess kind of thrown in the deep end, I guess, just to say, hey, this is what you got to deal with. This is the top people. Can you compete with them now?
Yeah, I think they're kind of put in a weird situation with this Tiffany versus Jade match, because I am sort of ready for this Tiffany run to end. She's had a really good run. I've enjoyed it. But I do think it's about time for her to drop that title to someone new and more interesting. But I don't know if that's Jade Cargill. Obviously, I do like Jade Cargill. She's had pretty good matches, especially very recently. She's been improving such a great amount in the short amount of time recently in the singles division. But it's just something I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like maybe I would have looked to see her hold that mid-card title for a little bit first. Maybe put on, I don't know. I think there's just something missing with Jade Cargill that's not quite there yet. But I am excited for it. I do think that there could be a really good run in Jade Cargill with that world title. And people like Charlotte and Alexa and people of that nature going against her could be really good matches.
Yeah. And then next up, I guess, another feud that we're kind of starting to get the match officially announced, but that is probably going to be Aleister Black versus Damian Priest, more likely at SummerSlam. Aleister Black, since debuting, I think hasn't maybe hit the heights that maybe I had wanted for him. I wanted him to be maybe a top mid-card guy. I think there is still room for him to get there. I think it's still very early on in his run. But I think with Damian Priest being another guy who is at the top of the mid-card after kind of falling out of that world champion picture, this could be a very good match. Both men kind of wanting to prove themselves that they can be in that top level of talent in the SmackDown side. So, yeah, whoever wins that match should go on to probably be the next contender for the world champion even.
Yeah, we've seen Aleister come in and do some stuff with Carmelo Hayes. A lot of people are excited for them to potentially do a 7-game series like they did with Andrade. They didn't end up going that direction. I kind of am happy that they did do that, because now we're doing stuff with R-Truth. We've seen him have some interactions with him in ring and out of ring, and now Damian Priest is kind of stepping in and stepping up for his friend. And this will be a very good match. As you mentioned, we thought that maybe we would have a little bit bigger of a peak in WWE, but I think going against Priest, and especially if he does get that win over Priest, that's a really good spot, because they do absolutely love Damian Priest in the WWE. They think of him as a world champion. I think they really want him holding that gold again one day, and I think if you put Aleister Black in that picture and start a little feud with them that you could revisit in the future, that could be really good for him moving forward, maybe next year or the year after or something.
Yeah. And then next up, we got the current United States champion Solo Sikoa and his bloodline, and they will be going against Jacob Fatu in a steel cage. But I guess kind of the more bigger thing is just the Jacob Fatu and Jimmy Uso kind of pairing that are kind of trying to take over or trying to defeat this new bloodline.
Yeah, we've seen Hikuleo get debuted. We've seen Tonga Loa come back. The only return that we're kind of looking forward to at this point is Tama Tonga. He was one of the more interesting people of the bloodline, and I am interested to see him come back. But the real interesting piece is Jacob Fatu. He has separated from the bloodline and Solo Sikoa in general. So he had kind of a little bit of division with Jimmy Uso at the start, but they kind of slowly worked their way back together in storyline and everything. So that's very interesting to see what they do with that. Because as well as we could kind of expect Jey Uso to kind of come into this fold at some point, I'm sure of it. So yeah, I think that'll be cool when Jey Uso comes over, because I would like to see Jacob Fatu and Jey Uso at some point have like a full-on match. I think that'd just be very fun, as well as Jimmy at some point. But yeah, for now, I think the Bloodline story has kind of dried up. It's kind of fallen off the deep end a bit. It's kind of died out. We're seeing Hikuleo and Solo and Tongaloa and stuff. So it's not what it used to be for sure when it was Roman and the Usos and Sammy and all these interesting pieces coming together. But I am a little bit interested in this Solo run. He has done pretty good like comedy work. He's done decent in-ring work as well. So it hasn't been terrible for Solo, but I am ready for Jacob Fatu to kind of destroy him at SummerSlam and win back that title.
Yeah, hopefully after SummerSlam, Jacob Fatu walks out with the champion, and we're officially done with Bloodline versus Bloodline people. I think it's like you kind of say, it's done its time. We've seen it too much now. I think it's about time we wrap this up, because yeah, you don't want to kind of give the same matches over and over again. Yeah, it's different people, but in the end, we're gonna get the same run in. We're gonna get a rough bump, and then somebody else is gonna come in and knock them out, and then the bad guys gonna get the win. So yeah, hopefully this stuff kind of wraps up. Hopefully this isn't the Survivor Series match at the end of the year, because I don't want to see the Bloodline wrapped up in that match once again, just because they are the Bloodline. There are so many people, so they have the teams already set up. But yeah, hopefully Jacob Fatu wins the belt, walks away from this, and can start going against maybe an Aleister Black, Damian Priest if they win, or maybe Drew McIntyre once he's done with all his business. But yeah, hopefully, like I said, Jacob Fatu wins, and we get on to big things that we actually want to see from him.
Yeah, and speaking about Drew McIntyre, we're going to talk about the negative of WWE at this point in time, and that is the tag team division. The reason why that involves Drew McIntyre, of course, is because he is teaming with Logan Paul versus Jelly Roll at the SummerSlam moving forward. So that's a match I didn't expect. If you ask me, 100 matches for Drew McIntyre in 2025, I don't think I would have had Jelly Roll on that card.
Yeah, obviously it's one of those things where, as a fan of Drew McIntyre, I don't want him to do this. I get that it is a big mainstream type of spot. They've been doing all the talk shows and doing things on there. But as a fan, I don't really care. I don't have very high expectations for this match at all. But if Drew McIntyre's happy with what he's going to be doing at SummerSlam, that's all fine. But yeah, the tag team division overall has been very, very weird, because the SmackDown side of things are so good, but it's on SmackDown, and it's kind of been a trash show this past year. So, but then the Raw tag team belts are nowhere to be seen really, and that hasn't been great, and it's on the better show. So, yeah, for the most part, the tag team division, the main problem is just we need to see a split of all the talent on one side. We have 5 of the best tag teams on SmackDown right now. We have the DIY, we have Andrade and Rey Fenix, who were recently put together. We have Street Profits, Motor City. So all the good tag teams are on SmackDown, whereas Raw, like I said, is the better show, should have the better tag teams. Don't have any tag teams really besides Judgment Day, New Day. We've seen the end of Austin Theory and Grayson Waller now, which happened off camera, which is very weird. But yeah, hopefully when this draft eventually happens, hopefully it is soon and not until next year or before Mania or after. Hopefully we just see a shakeup, because something really needs to happen for the tag team, because the tag team division in WWE hasn't been great in the past few years. It's always been kind of dead. So hopefully, like I said, we get some type of life in both tag team divisions.
Yeah, we've seen Nathan Frazier and Axiom absolutely crush it over in NXT before they came up. So we know that WWE can book a really good tag team division. We've seen it in the past. We've seen it recently. So I do think that, there is definitely hope for the tag division to pick back up this year. Maybe as you mentioned, we need to see that draft happen to kind of spice things up and kind of shake up the tag team rosters a little bit. But there is a lot of talent in the tag team division. Obviously, we just seen the Street Profits have an amazing tag team title run from WrestleMania to now, or I guess the SmackDown after WrestleMania to now. But the White Six did take their titles from them, so that's a very uninteresting thing. No one has really been interested in the White Six for a very long time, so that's a kind of questionable decision there. The one good thing, I guess, about the tag team division in WWE is their women's tag team titles have been moving a little bit. We've seen Lyra and Becky hold it for a week, and then they lost it right back. But everything involving the Judgment has been good. Their matches with the titles have been good. But even that kind of lacks a little bit, because there's no real women tag team. that are believable to take it from them, because obviously Roxanne and Raquel are a really good team, and even before that with Liv Morgan are an even bigger team because of Liv Morgan's star power. But the lack of star power in the actual tag team division for the women have been very bad. I think we had the Alexa Bliss and Charlotte tag team while Liv Morgan was the champion. I think that would have been a very interesting thing to go forward with, especially since Liv and Alexa has had their interactions in the past this year at the Royal Rumble, at Elimination Chamber, and all those other places. But yeah, this tag team division is a little rough right now. Not even a little, it is a lot rough right now. We need to see some big improvements for the rest of this year to kind of make it step up in the good direction that it needs to be.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned as well that the tag team division, at least for the men, they don't have that star power. And I think on Raw, I think obviously someone like a Jey Uso, who is one of the top guys in the company, even though I'm not the biggest fan of him, I do think as a tag team, him and Jimmy are still a good tag team. I think if they were, they can definitely, you know, throw some more momentum. I think Jey Uso stocks would probably go down a little bit, but I think it would be a good thing for him to do while he's not going after Gunther, going after a world champion. He might be teaming up with the guy we'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, it is. Hopefully we get something to reinvigorate this men's side and the women's side. But yeah, the SmackDown, I guess, is kind of fine, but we want to see more of a balance between all three tag team champions.
And moving on to the final topic of the video, the big thing that happened on this past Monday, and that is Roman Reigns' massive return with his massive pop, and everything involving Roman Reigns always feels big and special because he comes around so little that when he does come around, it always just feels like a massive moment, just a drop your jaw moment. And yeah, they proved that once again on this past Raw, where he comes out to once again interfere with that Seth Rollins faction and have even more interactions with a very exciting Braun Breaker.
Yeah, like I said, Roman today put out a tweet that he extends the offer to Jey Uso to potentially tag team and go against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed at SummerSlam. So if that is the case, I think that's definitely something that's very good. I would love to see, kind of going back to the tag team thing, I think even a Braun Breaker and a Bronson Reed to kind of hold those tag team belts, since there's no one else really doing too much and nothing too crazy with. I think them holding it, being given all the time they do get, would definitely help a little bit. But yeah, Roman Reigns coming back is going to be something that can be very hit or miss, whether he'll be back for a long time or a short time, who knows. But yeah, I think him interacting with someone like a Braun Breaker, giving him, you know, kind of a rub in a way where now Roman Reigns, who is the top guy, giving the keys to somebody like Braun Breaker, who we know is a future top guy, start very early on in his years. So yeah, Braun Breaker kind of interacting with Roman Reigns is definitely something that's very interesting, and hopefully Bronson Reed also can get some big momentum after all this is all said and done too.
Yeah, hopefully we ultimately just end up seeing that Roman Reigns versus Braun Breaker one-on-one match, because that is the kind of big main event-ish match that we really want to see moving forward, as well as obviously Seth Rollins, because that's someone who's also kind of lingering around this Roman Reigns story and always will linger around Roman Reigns for the rest of their careers, likely, as well as CM Punk probably. But yeah, there's a lot of things happening here in this Roman Reigns story. There's Jey Uso, there's Jimmy Uso, Jacob Fatu and Roman still haven't had a lot of interactions, so they're gonna, you know, really do something at some point, I could only imagine. Obviously Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, and kind of Roman Reigns is the person that involves everyone, because everyone kind of feels special, and they feel like a little bit more, I guess, as I mentioned, special when they're around Roman Reigns and kind of hanging around him, whether it's in match or backstage or a promo segment. So Roman Reigns returning and doing everything that he does is always awesome. And yeah, that is the final topic of this video. We appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.